So if you go to a bookstore, any bookstore, you'll find that one of the biggest sections there, if not the biggest, is going to be a section of self-help. Right? Everybody has issues today about feeling our best, doing our best, joy, depression, popular topics. So we should understand what it's all about. Right? Essentially, people have a misconception about this, and that is that their joy is a dependent. That they're dependent on outside circumstances for their joy. Right? People think, if only I had that girl, if only I had that six-figure income, if only I had that job, if only I had that figure, if only I had those looks, if only I had that life, then I'd be happy. However, psychologists will even say that imagine that person gets something big. Imagine they win the lottery. Right? So yes, there will be a high, but maximum, it's going to last for 6 weeks. Then you come down from that high, and you're the same depressed loser you were before. Right? Why? Because your joy is never going to be able to come from an outside stimuli. Yes, you can get a shot in the arm, and that can give you an upper. But true personal joy, it can only come from the inside out, not from the outside in. Because joy is essentially, if we can define it, we would have to say that joy is the experience of actualizing the reality of who you are. Right? That means there's a certain reality and potential of who you are. Right? We know this from when we're kids. The first place we go to school is called kindergarten. Right? What's a garden? A garden means each of us are seeds. And a seed is something that there's a certain essence and potential of what that seed is. You're not creating it from scratch. The good gardener is the one who's able to see, okay, here's the reality of the seed. Let me do a bunch of things around it in order to facilitate the growth of that seed into the fullest tree that it can be. And the same thing goes with that's exactly the story of each of us. That each of us, we have a certain reality of who we are in potential. It's all self-contained in potential, just like a seed. And then the question is, can we go ahead and build ourselves and grow forth into the truth, into the reality of who we really are, into fruition? To the extent we're able to grow into fruition and build of ourselves who we're supposed to be. To that extent, we are going to be experiencing joy, even along the way, even along the journey. Because when we're in touch with the goal, we can be living with that goal even in the journey. Because we have our sights clear, right? Contrast this with depression. What's depression? If we're going to say that joy is the experience of actualizing the reality of who you are, so then depression is the experience of not actualizing the reality of who you are, of staying stagnant, right? And this is the thing, our society, unfortunately, is pushing us the wrong way, right? If our society says to us, if it feels good, do it. But there's an implication to that. And that is, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And so what do people say? Okay, if it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, don't. So okay, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do anything that takes any striving, any building, any movement. So I'll just lay down on my couch with my Doritos and grab the remote and turn on MTV, Oprah reruns, and whatever else. And so then that feels fine for a little bit, but how long before this person starts to feel like a piece of garbage? Everybody's a different amount, but everybody, there is a limitation. There is a time where they're going to start feeling that way. Well, why are they feeling that way? They're feeling that way because they have taken upon themselves a life, right? If it feels good, do it, and if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And when a person goes ahead and lives like that, right, and decides, okay, if it doesn't feel good, I'm not going to do it. So they don't move. They don't try to move. They don't try to get up and move forward, right? Now, if it's all about just feeling good, so then, okay, when are you feeling right? And you're taking on this life of path of least resistance. So then, when are you most relaxed? Right? Some people say, okay, when you're lying on the beach. Okay, when are you even more relaxed than that? When I'm asleep. Right? And when are you even more at peace than when you're asleep? Right? When you're dead. Right? And so what we're seeing is that what our society, the vision that they're giving us, and their philosophy that they're giving us, is one that is getting us in touch with death, even here in this life. Right? We are doing the same thing as a dead person does. A dead person lies there and does nothing. So when a live human being is doing the same thing as a dead person, it should come as no surprise that they start to feel like a dead man walking, right? And this is the epidemic that we have in our society with depression. Now, I'm not talking about certain people who have real serious medical issues, etc. But the epidemic that's going on among the masses with the issues of depression and not experiencing true joy is exactly this. That people are just stuck and stagnant at the place that they're at, and find it incredibly difficult to pull themselves up and to go ahead and move forward, to make a choice, to have a vision, to follow up on it. It's just such a difficult thing to do in our time, especially in a world where there's so much stimulation, everything's coming to us and we're receiving everything. So it's very hard to go ahead and go beyond that and to push forward with something, and then when it gets difficult, to follow through with it again, right? However, when we go ahead and do this, maybe it won't be easy, but when we go ahead and do this, we will certainly not be being depressed. It might be difficult, might be struggle, might be tough on the journey, no question about it. But depression, you will not feel. And when we go ahead and we follow up on it on an ongoing basis, ultimately we go ahead, hopefully, and bring out the reality of who we are, live it out, and grow into the fuller version of ourselves. And this is when we experience joy and happiness in a real way.